Good evening, everyone. It's Nicole. Um, so a couple of days ago, maybe about a week ago, I've been working on this project for a little while now, and I wrote down a manifesto, sort of things that I believe that personally have been transforming for me as a parent, and that I wanted to kind of wave a banner around. And the language on this one is that we believe we are tired of being people pleasers, and we don't want our kids to grow up with that. I really think this people pleasing thing can get really in the way of people's happiness. They can get in the way of your decisions. They can get in the way of your purpose and your destiny, and the destiny and purpose of your children and your family. And here's how. Because how I'm supposed to live my life is not how you're supposed to live your life. So please don't ever hear what I'm sharing here as saying you have to do it my way, or I think everybody would be better off if they did it exactly. There's not a prescription that I'm giving here, okay? There's an encouragement. And the encouragement today is when you are making decisions, whose voices are in your head telling you one way or another? Whose voices do you weigh in on, or allow to weigh in on those decisions? And like I said, you don't have to turn to other people for approval and for permission, but sometimes you're doing it because you've internalized their voices. And, a lot of those voices, it can come from, your own parent sort of relationship. And when you think about that, if the voice in your head that's telling you not to do this and not to do that, and things that, I'm not just saying like the really good advice that was passed on to us. I'm talking about the one that tells you, that keeps you playing small, that keeps you playing safe, that keeps you from making the brave choices that you want to make. That voice, if it was coming from your parents, think about that. Think about whether you want to be that kind of parent that passes on this voice that makes your child think about that their job is to please you and to do what you think they should do. How might you, and I can talk about this at length, but how might you, through curiosity and asking them questions and hearing what they have to say before sharing your own perspective, or maybe never sharing your own perspective, and really just trying to get them to find theirs, with your encouragement, with your, I wonder about this, I wonder about that. So if the voices are coming from your parents, from back when, think about whether that's a voice that still is serving you and the decisions that are required of you as an adult today. And if the voices came from things like teachers, the number of teachers I've heard talk about the real world, and in the real world you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do this, and it's like, this is 2020, it's 2020. The real world is completely different than anybody ever thought it was going to be. And right now, the people who are doing well are people who spent a lot of time working outside of all the systems that the world had said were the safe places. So in your case, if the voices are coming from like old teachers or old wisdom and they aren't serving you, then I want you to think about whether you can evict them out of your head. And again, think about the voices that are surrounding your children and make sure you're curating those and paying attention to what's being planted in the minds of your children. So people pleasing, it's time to give it up. It's time, even for me, when I was making this, like when I wrote that line, I really wanted that last word on that line. And I think that I second guessed it and going, maybe I shouldn't say that, maybe I shouldn't, but nope. That is how strongly I feel about the people pleasing thing. Okay. So I'll talk more about it. I'd love for you to reach out and tell me anything that you want, any encouragement, but again, questions, perspectives. It's been nice chatting with you tonight. I see Samantha and Stephanie. How are you? And Enough for tonight. I'm heading back in to my dinner plans. See you next time.